This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Problem is, it takes weeks, if not months, to investigate those kind of charges. So the effect is they get away with it because they know they're going to get away with it.
Serve people, but we're in an industrial park. We don't serve businesses. And I'm thrilled that we're going to be right at that critical intersection on the north side because it's right in the middle of the people we serve.
It's just so fun and engaging and real. I think that's the power of this. It's a real thing they're doing, and not just like a worksheet of problems or something, but it's a real life thing.
I learned how to work with other people as a group and how to appreciate all the work that other people do for us without even thinking about it.
Those are some of the stories we've got for you this morning. Good morning, everybody. We're up here dark and early this November morning. Derek, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Emily?
I'm doing great as well. Well, good morning to everyone. Can we expect some more warm weather this November?
Yeah, you know, we got one more day of seeing some of that warm air, Emily, before we start to see a cool down here starting tomorrow and then pretty much continue out here for a while. We'll get to more of that here in a second. But we have some clouds that continue to move across the area. And as a matter of fact, really those clouds combined with that south wind has actually kept us pretty mild here once again this morning. As you can see, we're mainly into the 60s out there for us to work with. And overall, a much warmer difference here yet again across the Coulee region. And we look to stay pretty mild here throughout the day here as well. As you can see on your day planner, temperatures warming up into the low 60s by 11, followed by the upper 60s at 1. Now we will be looking at much cloudier weather conditions though, moving in later this afternoon and also into this evening. But despite the cloud cover, because we're going to have a south wind here today, we will still remain very warm here, well above average this afternoon, with highs reaching around 72 degrees, which should come roughly around that 3 o'clock hour as well here for us throughout the day. So we'll talk more about this, and also got some cooler and wetter changes on the way later this week. We'll get to that as well. Emily?
You keep showing us these temperatures in the 70s, and I keep being surprised, even though you've warned us of it every day.
Listen, I'm not going to complain whatsoever, Emily, about
I won't either.
Man,
I'm just saying.
Love it. This time of year, we'll take it. I think at least I will.
I agree. All right. Thanks, Derek.
All right.
A teenager went to jail Wednesday night charged with terroristic threats causing panic. On Tuesday, staff at La Crosse's Northside Elementary School called police to report a person wearing a mask, driving by the school and waving a gun. Officers tracked down the car and arrested 19-year-old Carter Ratty. Ratty said he had an airsoft gun. He says he was going to pick up friends, but made a wrong turn and drove past the school twice. Ratty is being held on $5,000 cash bond. The Jackson County man institutionalized after killing his father wants to be released. 29-year-old Lars Helgeson pled not guilty by claiming mental disease to the 2013 fatal shooting of his father and was committed to Mendota Mental Health Institute. In September of this year, Helgeson filed for conditional release. The doctor who examined Helgeson's medical records and interviewed him told the court he believes it is safe to release Helgeson.
It was my opinion to a reasonable degree of certainty that Mr. Helgeson would not pose a substantial risk of harm to himself, others, or property damage if afforded conditional release.
The judge did not rule on Helgeson's request. The prosecutor wants a police investigator and a witness to take the stand. A testimony date has not been set. A Wisconsin appeals court and a circuit judge shot down attempts backed by liberals seeking orders that local election clerks must accept absentee ballots that contain partial witness addresses. Numerous lawsuits have been filed leading up to the election, focused on which absentee ballots can be counted or rejected. The latest rulings come within days of Tuesday's election, and after 503,000 absentee ballots have already either been returned or cast in person. Extremist, radical, bans crime. You've likely heard these words when you turn on your television. Political ads are everywhere, but how accurate are they? News 8 Now's Dua Israr spoke with an expert to find out.
When you turn on the TV, it's likely you've seen a political ad,
Here's a fun fact.
or two, or 20.
Politicians have to be accountable for their own ads.
But under the Federal Communication Commission's rules, responsibility is a loose term.
Think crime is bad now? Mandela Barnes would make it worse.
They get away with it because they know they're going to get away with it.
Under the FCC's political programming rules and the Communications Act of 1934, broadcast stations are prohibited from censoring or rejecting political ads that are paid for and sponsored by legally qualified candidates, meaning political ads can go unchecked.
But it's Johnson's views that are alarming.
People believe him, unfortunately.
Political analyst Joe Heim says even if an ad is false, candidates have a difficult time pulling them off the air.
Problem is, it takes weeks, if not months, to investigate those kind of charges.
There are ways viewers can separate fact from fiction. Heim says the first step is watching out for key words.
Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as governor?
Mandela Barnes is a radical leftist.
Talking about somebody being a radical or extremist usually is an exaggeration.
Heim says voters should also watch out for candidates who make large promises.
I will pass term limits and ban congressmen from ever becoming lobbyists. I'm Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message.
If I'm elected, I'm going to change the world. Oh, come on. You're one of 100 senators. You're one of 435 congressmen. You cannot change the world. You're not a dictator.
Although unfactual political ads can and will air, Heim says there has been some improvement.
Tony Evers is letting these murderers out. 232 murderers have been released. You've seen these ads. If you listen carefully, the latest ones will say, Tony Evers, a parole commission has released. That's an indication that they don't want to get caught in a direct lie saying Tony Evers does something.
Heim says while political ads may always have some falsehoods and extremes, most voters do their homework.
And an ad says something pretty outrageous, you better check to see if it's true.
Reporting in La Crosse, through Esrar, News 8 Now.
Stations all across the state, including News 8, have received cease and desist letters from more than one campaign. Because of an FCC ruling, no political ads at News 8 have been removed. Well, the November election is next Tuesday, and the final Marquette Law School poll finds the candidates for Wisconsin senator and governor are neck and neck. According to the poll, 50% of registered voters support incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson, while 48% support Democratic challenger Mandela Barnes. The governor's race is a toss-up. Democratic incumbent Tony Evers polls at 48%, the same as Republican challenger Tim Michels. And as we just heard, the governor's race in Wisconsin is also a virtual tie, 6 days ahead of the election, and there's no shortage of enthusiasm on both sides. Michels spoke to supporters in favor of reducing crime and tax reform that would put more money in Wisconsinites' pockets.
We are going to do bold leadership in Madison. I'm going to work as hard as the hardworking people of Wisconsin do. They deserve to have a leader that works hard and that has been proven to be successful.
Tony Evers was also in Northeast Wisconsin on Wednesday. Evers told supporters that he's a candidate that will protect abortion and voting rights, and he spoke about his record.
Well, we've done the right things. We've brought more money to our public schools and our university system and our tech colleges than ever before. We fixed the roads, and we've got broadband to over 387,000 homes.
Both candidates stressed the importance of voting and encouraged their supporters to take part in attending events. Well, a La Crosse coffee house wants to make sure you espresso yourself. Mocha's owner and employees are wearing t-shirts now with that slogan. And the business is teaming up with the League of Women Voters to encourage voters to take part in the midterm election.
We feel fortunate, we feel passionate about voting and encourage everyone to espresso themselves next Tuesday.
And every election, people step up to work the polls, a critical resource to make elections run smoothly. Federal officials warn, though, that those workers could be subject to threats. Caroline Cummings has the story out of Minneapolis.
They're usually just ordinary citizens stepping up to serve their community. But poll workers and their safety now in focus, with the FBI and other agencies issuing a national alert that they could become targets by extremists with grievances about the election results.
Hearing about those things is obviously extremely unfortunate that somebody would threaten any election worker. We're just citizens doing our job, making sure that elections are run properly.
Tom Hunt is the Anoka County elections manager. He says they haven't seen threats against election workers, but they've put more of an emphasis on security measures this year.
If it does get to the point where a citizen is disruptive or causing an issue, then just how to handle that and what to do.
As for the Minnesota Secretary of State's office, they say that they have realigned staff to focus on physical security of elections and have offered training to poll workers on de-escalation techniques. DFL Secretary of State Steve Simon says these measures a direct response to 2020, where people made baseless claims that the election was fraudulent.
We always have to be on guard and hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And that's what we're doing in Minnesota.
But he says Minnesota is in a better spot than other states. That's because the state has laws on the books that limit what people can do at polling locations, like prohibiting most from being within 100 feet of a polling place if they're not casting a ballot there.
We have no specific credible threat for next Tuesday in the polling place. And while I think our risk is low, the risk is never zero. So we want to make sure that we're prepared.
Election officials say over 30,000 people volunteer at the polls each election. Still ahead on your morning news, interest gets another hike. This will be the 6th time this year in an attempt to fight inflation. We'll explain more. And food prices continue to rise. The cheaper alternatives to help you save money and the earth. That's all coming up after the break. And for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Coffee lovers, it's time to get into the holiday spirit. Starbucks unveiled its new holiday cups, an annual tradition now in the 25th year. Starting today, customers will have their hot beverages served in one of 4 festive cup designs. These are very fun this year. You can enjoy the usual peppermint mocha or chestnut praline latte this winter season, but there's also a new sweet treat being unveiled, a chocolate pistachio swirl roll. Looks very good. We will be right back with more news right after the break.
Quiet look there from City Cam 8, but we are watching some clouds that continue to move in across the area. The clouds at night combined with that south wind keeping us relatively warm here this morning as current readings into the 50s and low 60s. Your highs today, though, will reach those upper 60s to low 70s during the afternoon today in La Crosse County with 68 and partly cloudy today in West Salem. 71 degrees in Soldiers Grove today. Meanwhile, in Lansing, you're at 70 this afternoon. It'll be 69 in Warren, 66 today in Blair, and 67 degrees this afternoon in Arcadia. Highs reaching 65, though, if you're in Eau Claire, and 66 degrees in Stanley, 65 degrees in Altoona. For your schoolcast this morning, things do look good. A few clouds out there, 60 degrees, 65 degrees, and a few clouds and sunshine around the lunch hour. Expect mostly cloudy conditions by the afternoon. 70 degrees will be the temperature at around dismissal time. I'll be back with a check on the full weather forecast. Still to come.
The Federal Reserve seems on track to boost its benchmark interest rate today, yet again to fight inflation. The expected 0.75 percentage point bump would be its 4th consecutive hike of that size. Economists are hopeful this could be the final such move, and we'll be watching closely to see if the Fed signals a possible shift to slow rate increases beginning next month. Baby formula manufacturer Perrigo Company announced that it is buying the rights to Nestle's Good Start brand and a Wisconsin plant that makes it. The $170 million deal is expected to help the company better meet demand after shortages this year left families scrambling to find infant formula, though there are signs that that shortage has eased. And today, Netflix is set to launch its ad-supported streaming plan at $7 a month. But some longtime viewers of the video streaming giant may be disappointed to find they can't download shows to watch later. Also, some content is not available at that payment plan due to licensing restrictions. Netflix says it is working on that issue. Prices for food continue to rise, but there are a couple of new apps that could help you save money and cut down on food waste at the same time. Deborah Alfarone explains.
Hi, I'm picking up a Too Good To Go order.
Can I see your confirmation?
Yeah.
Josh Byard picked up a bag of bagels, but had no idea what was inside until he opened it.
8 bagels of different kinds, a lot of everything bagels.
He got the food for less than a third of the regular price from Too Good To Go. It's an app with stores and restaurants serving up everything from pastries to salad to pizza. Customers can buy a surprise bag that costs between $4 and $6 that many restaurants offer up at the end of the business day. The owner of Bullfrog Bagels calls it a win-win.
There's just less waste. We make a little extra money, and the customer gets a very deeply discounted bagel.
While Too Good To Go offers discounted food from restaurants that would otherwise be thrown away, there are also apps that offer the same from grocery stores. One of them, called Flash Food, works with about 1,400 supermarkets. Stores pick out items nearing their expiration dates and sell them for around half price on the app. Customers pick up their food from a refrigerator near the front of the store. Are you seeing more people on the app now that we've experienced such inflation?
Yeah, we're selling almost all the food that gets made available in the Flash Food app.
Flash Food and Too Good To Go take a percentage of every sale, but the companies say they are committed to fighting food waste, and that's the main reason Bayard uses the app.
I mean, every little thing that we do can make an impact.
Too Good To Go is in 13 major cities, and Flash Food is in about half of U.S. states. Both are expanding to transform more food waste into an affordable feast. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Too Good To Go says every day its sales save nearly 300,000 meals from going into the trash.
61 degrees and pretty quiet weather conditions what we have in La Crosse. Maybe a tad cooler downtown at 60 degrees. Our river stage is at 4.93 feet and rising. Yesterday, wow, very warm day. Highs reached 76 degrees. That actually broke the record of 75 that was set back in 1938. Now for today, I'm not expecting it to get quite that warm. Our highs should reach around 72, and that will put us below that record high of 75, but above the average high, which is 52 degrees for this time of the year. Meanwhile, to the north in Eau Claire, we're looking quiet here as well. 58 degrees, south winds at around 9 miles an hour. And check out the current temperatures across the area, mainly into the 50s, but mostly the 60s here. As you can see, we're at 61 degrees currently in Winona. Let's get checked now on your daycast. 58 degrees with a few clouds at 7, 65 and some clouds here by noon today, followed by some cloudy conditions settling in around 5 p.m. 68 will be the temperature, and then 66 and still cloudy even as we head into the early evening. We'll get to more on that here in a second. But check out the forecast highs today. Yet another very warm day across the area. 60s and 70s here across the map. 70 today in Sparta and 71 in Volkfield. 69 just shy of 70 for you in Black River Falls. You can see the clouds that continue to move across the area. In fact, because of those clouds and the combination of that south wind, it's really helped kept us relatively warm here across the upper Midwest here yet again. But there are some changes though on the way, because as you can see, we're going to drop into the 50s as we head into tomorrow and this weekend, and then that same trend continues as we head into next week. The reason being is because we are watching a front here back to the west, which is also going to help increase the cloud cover, especially later today, and even a few showers here as increasing moisture begins to move east from this system as we head into the tonight hours, and also maybe a couple of thunderstorms move in here too. But better rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into late tomorrow morning and through the afternoon as well, as that system continues to move east and lots of moisture surges north across the area. In fact, some of this could contain some heavy rainfall at times as well, and it looks like the same here can be said as we head into the evening before yet another stronger surge of moisture containing heavier rain and a few thunderstorms move in, still associated with that same system moving through as we head into early on Saturday. And that's why our rain chances are looking pretty good here as well for Friday and Saturday as that system pulls through. Now, we will be looking at some drier conditions as we head into Sunday and also into much of next week here too, with temperatures dropping into the 50s behind that system associated with that front. So we're kind of back to normal here for where we stand this time of the year as we head towards next week. Stay tuned though, we're back with much more news and weather still to come here on News 8 Now this morning. But for now, we're sending you to break with a look at what happened on this day in history. We'll be right back. A few cloudy skies moving in across the Coulee region now, and thanks to the cloud cover and the southerly wind, it's really kept us pretty mild here this morning. Temperatures into the 50s and 60s. 61 in La Crosse, 58 degrees currently in Eau Claire. Dog walking conditions do look nice here for you this morning. A few clouds here for the afternoon, but more so towards the late afternoon to the evening where things could turn a little bit more on the cloudier side of things. Stay tuned though, we'll have a check on your commute forecast. That's next in weather.
Blitz. There's only one undefeated team left in the NBA, and last night they were looking to keep it that way. The Bucks have come out red hot to start the season, a perfect 5-0 so far at home, and last night they were back at Fiserv Forum looking for their 7th straight win to open the year. Let's head out to Milwaukee. Giannis and the Bucks looking for their 6th win at home, taking on Detroit for the 2nd time in 3 nights. Early in the first, Bucks down 1, but Drew Holiday goes baseline and lays it in. Then later in the quarter, it's Brook Lopez going to work in the paint. The spin, contact, counted plus the foul. Strong move from Lopez puts Milwaukee up 5. Then it's Giannis having his way. Watch out, putting the Pistons on a poster. Bucks up 5 after 1. They kept pouring it on in the second. Giannis, the alley-oop to Lopez, 2 of his 11 on the night. Later in the second, Giannis looking for the baby hook here in the lane. Doesn't get it to go, but Bobby Portis is there to clean it up. 10 points, 9 boards for Bobby off the bench. Then with time expiring in the first half, Holiday drains the 3 at the buzzer. Milwaukee goes up 9 at the break. How about the Bucks? 7-0 to start the season. They get the win, 116-91. And on the diamond, Houston making history last night. A combined no-hitter for the Astros in their Game 4 win over Philly. It's the first no-hitter in a World Series since Don Larsen's perfect game back in 1956. Astros get the win. World Series is now tied at 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tonight. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
It is, I don't have the time now. It is 6:31 this morning, and breaking overnight, a man accused of driving through a Pentagon checkpoint last week allegedly said he hates America and was trying to kill people. Agents say the man continued to drive toward the Pentagon after a failed attempt at raising a second barrier. Officers eventually stopped the driver by using their cruisers to pin his SUV against a parked car. The incident remains under investigation. South Korea's military says it fired 3 air-to-ground missiles toward north of its border with North Korea on Wednesday in response to the North's missile launches, including one which landed less than 37 miles off of South Korea's coast. This was the first time a ballistic missile had landed near the South's waters, and the most missiles fired by the North in a single day. Pfizer is working on an RSV vaccine for newborns and now says it has enough data to seek approval from the FDA. The company says it will submit its findings by the end of the year. RSV is a common respiratory virus that causes mild cold-like symptoms, but it can be dangerous for older adults and infants. Pfizer's vaccine would be administered to pregnant women, who then produce antibodies that are passed on to her newborn. If approved by the FDA, it would be the first vaccine for RSV. Helion officially unveiled its new solar panel assembly lines to the public this week in Mountain Iron, Minnesota, which now boasts more than 500 megawatts of total annual capacity.
As the nation clamors for more ways to produce American-made clean energy, a company on the Iron Range is stepping up.
Well, it means that Minnesota's Iron Range and Minnesota are going to be at the forefront of this clean energy transition.
Helion has been making solar panels at their Mountain Iron facility for years, but are now unveiling a massive expansion. That's why some of the biggest names in politics gathered for the ribbon-cutting ceremony of what is now the 2nd largest solar panel manufacturing plant in the country.
Right now, very, very few solar panels are manufactured in the United States. So this major facility here in Minnesota is going to be helped tremendously by the Inflation Reduction Act.
Senator Smith says manufacturing and investment tax credits will soon fuel demand for solar panels nationwide to help national leaders reach renewable energy goals. But it's also helping create northern Minnesota jobs.
There will be 25 employees working on this new line each shift. With 4 shifts, that's a total of 100 new jobs being brought to the Iron Range.
It's been really exciting, and it's been wonderful watching the growth and the people that have come in to work.
At the ceremony Thursday afternoon, Helion leaders dedicated the new facility to the late Minnesota State Senator David Tomassoni. They say he was the driving force for bringing this project to the range.
So this was nothing but his vision and his relentless efforts to create jobs and the diversification of the economy here in the range.
Well, first announced in June 2021, Helion's Mountain Iron expansion project represents more positive momentum for U.S. solar manufacturing since the Inflation Reduction Act became law. Well, a 150-year-old house in Dane County has a brand new roof, all thanks to a donation. But crews didn't do it for the building. They did it to honor the man who lives inside. Pete Ponte is a Vietnam veteran, and he's lived in his Marshall home for 50 years. Ponte's friend heard about a local company offering a free roof to a veteran and nominated him. Ponte found out a few weeks ago, and crews showed up Wednesday morning to get started.
I wished we'd have a little more patriotism in our country with people like these Heinz contractors and Jordan Exteriors put all new windows in our VFW, didn't charge us anything for them. We need more people like that to appreciate us more. And I'm overwhelmed by everything that they are doing for us.
Ponte says he's humbled and honored by the gesture. This is the third time that Heinz Contracting has given away a free roof to a veteran for Veterans Day. And 2 Bangor schools are taking time away from classwork to help the community. On Wednesday, students at Bangor's middle and schools participated in a day of service. They volunteered around the area at places including senior living homes. News 8 Now visited one of those groups at Sparta's Morrow home. They spent much of that morning hanging up Christmas decorations. One student says she learned lessons that she will carry for years.
I learned how to work with other people as a group and how to appreciate all the work that other people do for us without even thinking about it.
Community Service Day was also an opportunity for both middle and high schoolers who don't see each other that often to make memories together. Wafer Food Pantry is kicking off community funding for its building project. On Wednesday, Wafer leaders showed off images of what that new pantry will look like. Wafer has already been renovating that former Gordy's grocery store in La Crosse's north side. Pantry leaders want to make picking up food a more grocery-like experience for people. They believe that having a location in the middle of a neighborhood will be vital.
Serve people, but we're in an industrial park. We don't serve businesses. And I'm thrilled that we're going to be right at that critical intersection on the north side because it's right in the middle of the people we serve.
The renovations will be complete next spring. If you would like to help out and donate to Wafer's cause, we'll have a link for you on our website, news8000.com. Your morning news now, a group of La Crosse kids are planning for the future of their school. 7th graders at Lincoln Middle School spent the last month making detailed plans for the school's redevelopment. Some kids wanted to tear down the building, while others made a plan to remodel it into a shelter. This is the 12th year of the project, and teachers say this is a great exercise for learning teamwork, while also practicing their math, art, and social studies skills.
It's just so fun and engaging and real. I think that's the power of this. It's a real thing they're doing, and not just like a worksheet of problems or something, but it's a real life thing.
Real La Crosse city planners have been helping out those students all along the way. A big 3-state railway project is reaching the final design stages. The Departments of Transportation in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois, along with Amtrak, are working on adding another round-trip rail service. This service will run from the Twin Cities through La Crosse and to Chicago. Construction is set to begin next year. Wisconsin rail officials say calls for better rail service are growing.
I think the passenger rail industry, we do see a lot of demand, especially with the younger generations. They're really looking for this type of transportation, and it provides alternate choice.
Is expected to wrap up in 2024, but the second round-trip service might be added sooner. WisDOT is still taking public opinions. If you'd like to voice your concerns or opinions, we posted a link on our website at news8000.com. And a heads up to drivers on La Crosse's north side. Starting today, the stretch of Monitor Street from Avon Street to Lang Drive is closed to through traffic, but access to businesses will stay open. Workers are paving that part of Monitor Street, and the closure will last until Friday. Officials will post a detour in the meantime.
Cloudy skies continue to kind of move across the area, especially mainly towards the east central zones here this morning. That combined with a south wind here this morning has kept us relatively warm here, with temperatures mainly into the 60s. A few spots though, such as Volkfield northward towards Black River Falls and Eau Claire, into the 50s this morning. All right, so for today, turning mostly cloudy, still warm. Temperatures picking up to 72 thanks to that south wind here keeping us warm at 10 to 20 miles an hour. But for tonight, we drop down to 49 degrees. Still relatively mild though for this time of the year. Watch out for a chance of thunderstorms, especially late. South-southwest winds at 15 to 25, so slightly on the breezier side. So for your commute forecast this morning, things are looking good. Just a few clouds here to work with out there, and then a few clouds here for the lunch hour as well. But it's really not until the late afternoon and also into the early evening where we could be looking at some cloudier weather conditions moving in. Stay tuned. We'll have a final check on the full weather forecast still to come. Emily?
All right, coming up in our Buzz Report, Adele has some news for us. All these years, we've been saying her name wrong. Find out how to properly say her name and more after the break.
As governor, I'll always try to do the right thing. I've worked with both parties to find middle ground to improve and invest in our public schools, cut income taxes, and put our state on solid financial footing. But here's what I won't do. I won't cut public school funding. I won't stop trying to find good ideas from both parties. And I'll never allow radical politicians to make decisions about abortion. That should be left to women and their doctors. I'm Tony Evers, and I'm asking for your vote.
Why shop the Habitat Restore? We offer new and used building materials, furniture, appliances, home decor, and more at 50 to 70% off retail pricing. New items arrive daily, so it's never the same store twice. Find us on Facebook to catch sneak peeks of products throughout the week. Feel good knowing your purchase helps build and repair homes in our community, as 100% of profits stay local and support Habitat's mission. Open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. off Highway 16 past Woodman's.
You've heard what women say about working at Tim Michaels' company, that they were groped.
A male superior groped the crotch and inner thigh of a female employee
and pressured to have sex with their bosses. And now we know more. According to an attorney involved in the case, when the only woman on a Michaels road crew was sexually harassed on the job, the company did not take it seriously. From the top down. From the top down. If that's how Tim Michaels runs his company, how do you think he'd run the state?
Stay warm and cozy this winter with La Crosse Fireplace Company and receive 26% federal tax credit. Wood stoves with a modern style like the Quadra-Fire or the classic look from Vermont Castings. La Crosse Fireplace Company has the stove to fit your style and needs. Purchase before the end of the year and receive a 26% federal tax credit on the entire package and installation. La Crosse Fireplace Company, because your place is by the fire.
The Coulee region has been good to me and my family, and I wanted to give something back. That's why I ran for the state assembly. And I've tried to do good things in Madison for the people of western Wisconsin. Wisconsin is facing a lot of problems today, and we need people who understand how things work. Right now, Wisconsin has a $5 billion surplus. With that surplus, we need to cut taxes. We need to fix our roads, and we need to fund our schools, and we need to do that now.
The lessons I learned growing up in Brownsville still ring true today. Work hard, take responsibility, and do your best. But that's not happening with Tony Evers. Evers released Wisconsin's worst criminals, killed jobs, paid people not to work, and he let so much more go up in flames. I'm Tim Michaels. It's time to stop the madness. As governor, I'll take the values I learned here and put them to work for Wisconsin.
Tim Michaels for governor.
Quiet weather conditions here in La Crosse with temperatures at 61 degrees. A tad cooler here downtown at 60. A south wind, though, to work with at around 15 miles an hour. That's the reason why we've been so warm here lately. And also this morning here too. Yesterday, a pretty warm day, 76 degrees. That actually broke the old record high of 75, which by the way was set back in 1938. For today though, I'm not expecting to break record high temperatures, but we will be warm again, 72, putting us above that average high of 52 degrees for this time of the year. Current conditions in Eau Claire, meanwhile, 58 degrees. South winds here at around 9 miles an hour, so not as breezy as what we're currently seeing further south in La Crosse. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s as you head out the door today, and we'll be at 65 degrees with some clouds here by noon here for you. 5 o'clock looking cloudy, 68 degrees there, and then by 9 still overcast, 66 degrees even as we wrap up the day heading into the evening hours. Temperatures this afternoon rising into the low 70s. Plenty of locations will hit that 70-degree mark, if not warmer, here this afternoon. The clouds here continue to move in, especially off towards the east, where we're seeing those warmer temperature readings. That combined with the south wind that we've been talking about all week long has been keeping us very warm here for this time of the year. Now, there are some changes on the way with cooler conditions. We're going to be dropping into the 50s Friday and this weekend, and that trend is going to continue into much of next week as well. The reason being is because we do have a cold front off to the west of us, which not only is going to give us some cooler conditions, but also much cloudier conditions and even a chance of rain here to work with as we head into tonight, and especially heading into the day tomorrow, as we'll get an increased moisture surge out ahead of the system to give us some scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow morning, especially late and also into the afternoon. And really the same can be said even as we head into the evening. Just constant streaming of moisture here moving into the area as that low here continues to pull in associated with that cold front, and then another round of showers and some thunderstorms, some of them producing heavy rain at times as well. Also possible with this system as we head into the day on Saturday. So that's why our rain chances are looking pretty high here for Friday and on Saturday too. And then we start to dry out on Sunday. We'll be looking at some drier conditions moving in as we head into next week behind that system, but much cooler at the same time as well, as highs will also drop into the 50s for much of next week here too, and low temperatures mainly into the 30s and 40s.
In our Buzz report this morning, singer Adele is setting the record straight on how to pronounce her name, and I did say it wrong just now. In a recent Q&A event in Los Angeles, the singer explained that fans have been saying her name wrong the whole time. The singer went on to say she prefers a slight stress at the end of her name, so it kind of sounds like a British accent. It would be preferred, I think, in a British accent. It doesn't sound great in the American. Get ready. It's pronounced Adele. I don't know. What do you think? Okay, so anyway, Jamaica's broadcasting regulator has banned all music and TV broadcasts that promote criminal activity, violence, drug use, scamming, and weapons. The government said that the ban is meant to prevent the wrong impression that criminality is a part of Jamaican culture in society. That ban comes after years of struggles to halt high levels of gun violence, which caused Jamaica to have the highest murder rate in Latin America and the Caribbean last year. The Beatles have released a new music video for their 1966 song, I'm Only Sleeping. British filmmaker and animator M. Cooper used 1,300 oil paintings to help illustrate the Beatles' lifestyle and anti-war sentiments. I'm Only Sleeping was a track on the band's Revolver album. Well, usually this is where we head into break with our Look Who's 8, but sadly we have no submissions today.
Yeah, and I gotta say, there has to be at least one person out there with a birthday today, Emily, but if you didn't submit it, hey, happy birthday to you.
I know, I was gonna say happy birthday to whoever you are.
Exactly, and if you know a special someone that is turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80 years old, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them here.
Yeah, just upload their photo to our website, that is news8000.com. You can look for the Submit Pictures button, which is under the Home tab on our website. Now stay with us. We've got everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Your Morning News Now, a group of La Crosse kids are planning for the future of their school. 7th graders at Lincoln Middle School spent the last month making detailed plans for the school's redevelopment. Some kids wanted to tear down the building, while others made a plan to remodel it into a shelter. This is the 12th year of that project, and teachers say this is a great exercise for learning teamwork, while also practicing their math, art, and social studies skills.
It's just so fun and engaging and real. I think that's the power of this. It's a real thing they're doing, and not just like a worksheet of problems or something, but it's a real life thing.
Real La Crosse City planners have been helping students along the way. And 2 Bangor schools are taking time away from classwork to help the community. On Wednesday, students at Bangor's middle and high schools participated in a day of service. They volunteered around the area at places including senior living homes. News 8 Now visited one group at Sparta's Morrow home. That group spent much of the morning hanging up Christmas decorations. One student says she learned lessons that she will carry for years.
I learned how to work with other people as a group and how to appreciate all the work that other people do for us without even thinking about it.
This day was also an opportunity for middle and high schoolers who don't see each other that often to make memories together.
Temperatures this morning are mainly in the 50s, and those upper 50s will last through at least the late morning hours, and then warming up into the low 60s by 11, followed by the low 70s come later this afternoon, but skies will be turning pretty cloudy.
Plus, Wafer Food Pantry is kicking off community funding for a building project. On Wednesday, Wafer leaders showed off images of what the new pantry will look like. Wafer is already renovating the former Gordy's grocery store in La Crosse's north side. Pantry leaders want to make picking up food a more grocery-like experience. They believe that having a location in the middle of a neighborhood will be vital.
Serve people, but we're in an industrial park. We don't serve businesses. And I'm thrilled that we're going to be right at that critical intersection on the north side because it's right in the middle of the people we serve.
Those renovations will be complete next spring. If you would like to donate to Wafer's cause, we'll have a link for you on news8000.com. A 150-year-old house in Dane County has a brand new roof, all thanks to a donation. But crews didn't do it for the building. They did it to honor the man who lives inside. Pete Ponte is a Vietnam veteran, and he's lived in his Marshall home for 50 years. Ponte's friend heard about a local company offering a free roof to a veteran and nominated him. Ponte found out a few weeks ago, and crews showed up Wednesday morning to get started.
I wish we'd have a little more patriotism in our country with people like these Heinz contractors. And Jordan Exteriors put all new windows in our VFW, didn't charge us anything for them. We need more people like that to appreciate us more. And I'm overwhelmed by everything that they are doing for us.
Ponte says he's humbled and honored by the gesture. This is the third time that Heinz Contracting has given away a free roof to a veteran for Veterans Day. Well, a big 3-state railway project is reaching the final design stages. The Department of Transportation in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois, along with Amtrak, are working on adding another round-trip rail service. That service will run from the Twin Cities through La Crosse and to Chicago. Construction is set to begin next year. Wisconsin rail officials say calls for better rail service are growing.
I think the passenger rail industry, we do see a lot of demand, especially with the younger generations. They're really looking for this type of transportation, and it provides alternate choice.
That construction is expected to end in 2024, but the second round-trip service might be available sooner. WisDOT is still taking public opinions. If you'd like to share them, we posted a link on our website. That is news8000.com.
A few clouds out there this morning. Temperatures in the 50s, 65 degrees, warmer here by noon. Our high today should reach around 72 degrees come late today, but we will be looking at some increasing clouds, making things relatively overcast later today. But at least we're still pretty warm today, though, Emily.
An unusually warm day yet again.
An unusually warm day yet again. But there are changes, though. This
Coming
weekend.
Up.
Yeah.
I know it'll be rainy.
It's going to be wet here Friday and Saturday.
We need it, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So sure. The farmers would say.
Exactly. Stay inside, indoor activities.
Exactly. Well, it has been wonderful to do the morning with you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for being here. I'm sure our viewers loved it. So
Jordan will be back tomorrow. Don't worry if you're a big Jordan fan. But do not forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com. And we will have all the latest updates to today's top stories and weather on News 8 Now at noon. We hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining us.